Now, the Syrian government forces and their allied Hezbollah fighters are pushing north to fully encircle the strategic city of Aleppo. Army forces backed by the Russian Air Force continue to advance north to the Turkish border, cutting off supply lines for terrorists inside Aleppo. The government troops and allied forces have made rapid gains in areas around Aleppo in recent weeks. On Wednesday, pro-government forces successfully broke a long-running siege by foreign-backed militants on two Shia-dominated towns of Nubl and Zahra.
The liberation of the towns of Nubl and Zahra means we have cut off their supply routes from Turkey. The supply was completely stopped. The militants surrounded in Aleppo are blocked. They have minimal freedom of maneuver. The upcoming military operations will force the terrorists to choose between capitulation or death.
The offensive marked the first major attack north of Aleppo by government forces since the Russian airstrikes began on September the 30th. Government forces also made gains in other areas, taking a key village in the northern countryside of Latakia province. More than 260,000 people have been killed and millions displaced since the Syrian crisis began in 2011. Let's speak to our correspondent Muhammad Ali now, who joins us via Skype from Damascus. Now, Muhammad, we've been listening about operation after operation with regards to Aleppo. Now, Aleppo city is the main target over here to liberate that. Tell us a bit more about the strategy in place over here.
Yes, the strategy of the Syrian army and its allies is to eliminate all foreign-backed militants in the northern countryside of Aleppo, starting from Aleppo itself all the way towards the borderline with Turkey. This is the overall goal of the Syrian army over there, and it seems that the military operation has been successful up till this moment. The Syrian army has recently taken control of Kfin village. This is north of Mayer, which was recently secured. The army then is heading towards Tel Rifat, which is a main stronghold north of Aleppo. Also, now the army is just 6 kilometers away from this main stronghold for the militants north of Aleppo, which is Tel Rifat. Then they will be heading all the way towards the borderline, particularly Azaz, a militant-held area, then the borderline directly. The army is now about 23 kilometers away from the borderline between Syria and Turkey north of Aleppo. This is a very significant and important military operation for the Syrian army, because securing that entire stretch of land means that there will be no chance for the militants to infiltrate anymore from that particular area into Aleppo. And it also means that the militants who occupy several parts of the city of Aleppo itself will not be able to have any kind of reinforcements from Turkey anymore. And this is also the second goal of the Syrian army. After encircling Aleppo from all sides and cutting those supply lines, the army will be heading towards securing many parts of Aleppo that are occupied by militants inside. And this is where the militants have been firing the mortar shells, the rockets, and the gas cylinders against the civilians in various parts of secured parts of Aleppo city.
Right now, Mohammed, very quickly if you can as well, Aleppo isn't the only place where these operations are taking place. Of course, let's not forget there are other places like we've just mentioned, Latakia province. Tell us a bit more about those and where has the progress led so far?
Also, important military operations happening across the country is north of Latakia. The Syrian army has been working over there to secure the entire countryside, northern countryside of Latakia, meaning that to secure also all of the areas there all the way to the borderline with Turkey from the area near Latakia there. And this is also very important. The major goal of the Syrian army is to cut all kinds of supply lines for the foreign-backed militants coming from Turkey, which has about 800 kilometers of a borderline in which the militants have been using to infiltrate and get all of their supplies, weapons, and ammunition from. The major goal is to cut all of those supply lines, whether from Aleppo side or Latakia. And also, we have to mention important military gains and operations happening south of the country, namely near north of Dar'a. The Syrian army has taken control of various strongholds of militants, and there are news circulating circulating now that militants in two areas, which are Itta and Da'il, are planning to surrender to the Syrian army after they have been put under siege by the Syrian army.
Okay, Press News' Mohammed Ali there giving us an update on the situation on the ground in Syria from Damascus via Skype. Mohammed, thanks very much indeed.